Welcome to the Getting Divorced Without Losing Your Mind podcast with Corey Shapiro. We are finishing our ebook summary with Chapter 8, How to Find the Best Attorney for You. Well, this is a difficult decision. Getting divorced is a difficult decision, and finding the right divorce attorney is difficult decisions. The problem is you may not be thinking totally clear. You may be emotional, and that may be clouding your thinking. So I want you to think of two ideas I came up with that might help you through this process. The first idea is the distinction between an expert for hire versus a trusted advisor. An expert for hire is going to tell you what you want to hear. Okay. They're going to support your wishes. They realize they make money through time. So they're motivated by giving you solutions that cost time so they can make money. That's an expert for hire. Now, not all expert for hires are bad. Some expert for hires can actually achieve your wishes, but usually not the case. Also, it can be super expensive, super time consuming. It may not even be worth it. You might want to also consider then a trusted advisor. This one is more about your specific tolerance for risk, very concerned about your divorce budget, about your time, money, energy, emotion, wants to understand you holistically, your interests, goals, personalities, and wants to take the long-term perspective. Okay, so that's the trusted advisor. The other distinction I want to make is between a bulldog and a wise dog. The bulldog is a typical toughie, sharks, barracudas, what you see in the movies and TVs, what people think they need when they get divorced or a certain type of divorce. These are high pressure tactics. This is the shock and awe approach to divorce. I would suggest that if you and your attorney can withstand the first wave of that shock and awe, whatever they do, it's going to be some type of application, some type of outrageous demands they make, then you really want to move into a wise dog type of an attorney. That's the second attorney I want you to think about. A wise dog, it's not going to do all these shock and awe approaches. It's thinking about your divorce more tactically, more long-term. That's the wise dog. All right, moving on to the quote. It's from Thomas Jefferson. If you want something you have never had, you must be willing to do something you have never done. And think about that as you're moving through the unknown of your divorce. Now, we usually have divorce news. We're only going to talk about news because we're talking about death. Now, divorce is a death of a marriage, but it's not a real death. And this week, I learned about a celebrity divorce which brought to mind issues about mental health. And I want to share three thoughts I have. The first is this idea of reaching the top of the mountain that you might have set out for yourself many years ago. And you reach that top of the mountain for whatever it is. It's usually a success goal. The mission's completed, but it doesn't give you the joy you thought. Could be children, it could be being financially successful, whatever it is. And what you need to understand, there's a second mountain. Okay. After you've reached the first mountain, there's a second mountain, maybe even a third mountain. And a book by David Brooks, and I'll put in the show notes the link on Amazon where to find it, really speaks to this. And we spoke about his book earlier in the podcast. So I want you to think about David Brooks and the second mountain. If you're not a reader, listen to it. I'm sure you can get the Google summary. Might not do it justice, though. The second thing, you want to surround yourself with smart people. Oprah says Martha Beck, smartest person she knows. Her books are fantastic. I think she does some social media presence. Find her on podcasts if you're not into books. She can help you find your true north. And that's not necessarily dependent, again, on traditional notions of success. And then third, you want to think about being vulnerable, being genuine. And Jonah Hill, the actor Jonah Hill, has really done a masterclass in vulnerability by sharing his therapy, his therapist to the world on a Netflix documentary, Stutz. And I'll link the New York Times review of that. But as you're going through this process, being vulnerable with yourself and with others is so helpful in moving beyond where you are now. All right, divorce questions is about mental health. How can I improve my mental health during my divorce? Well, dealing with divorce can be difficult. It's an emotional experience. Here's some steps. I'm a big believer in taking care of yourself physically. I think how you feel physically influences your mind. I would suggest eating healthy, exercising regularly, sleeping well. That's the baseline. Next thing is seeking support. You want to seek positive support from friends and family. I'm not looking for critical relationships. I'm not looking for relationships that just, projecting onto you their fears. I'm looking for supportive relationships. If you don't have that, consider therapy, consider counseling, group counseling. You need to have someone who can help you through these challenges. You can talk to your divorce attorney, but they're not a therapist and they're expensive. You want to practice self-care. I want you to start doing hobbies, exercise, spending time outdoors, doing things that fill you up. I'm not talking about going home on the couch and just watching Netflix. That just doesn't fill you up. You can do a little Netflix, but I'm not looking for binging TV all the time. That's not going to get you anywhere. How about keeping a routine? So much instability in your divorce. Focus on what you can control. Can you stay grounded by keeping a routine to the extent you can? Very important. Can you be patient? It's going to be overwhelming, your divorce. You want things yesterday. Realize this takes so much time. It takes so much time, sometimes divorce. I don't want you to fall into that trap, so be patient. Can you avoid making major decisions? A lot of times, all these decisions have to be made. Make the least amount of decisions possible. Hopefully, you can keep your job. It's going to be hard, but maybe that outlet is going to be helpful for you. I just don't want you to make these major decisions when you're so emotionally charged. Can you take things one day at a time? So helpful to focus on what's before you, to be present. There are so many steps, so many things you're going to have to do. But think of them as steps, take them one day at a time. So overall, you take care of yourself, you seek the support you need. That's going to help you weather the challenges of divorce so you can emerge stronger and more resilient in your post-divorce life. All right, announcements. You can submit a question to the podcast, a voice question at question.gettingdivorced.org. You can record your question straight from the browser. You can submit email to us at feedback@gettingdivorced.org. My positive perspective is I represent a lot of people who go against difficult people. And I want you to think of the difficult person as a shark, and they're trying to attack us. But I want to think of us as a turtle. And you're like, a turtle? Yeah. A turtle has a hard shell, but they're no match for a shark. Well, I want to show you a video, which I'll put it in the show notes, between how a sea turtle outmaneuvers a big tiger shark. And they do that by being very tactical and how they duck and angle when the shark attacks them. And that's the theme I want you to think of, being smarter, not stronger, smarter, efficient with your resources. Think about that turtle as you're going through your divorce. All right, remember, this podcast is for informational purposes only. Please consult with your attorney before acting on the information contained in this podcast. Until next time, be creative, not reactive.